There is a strange point in your financial life when money stops feeling like something you're constantly chasing. It starts feeling like something that is finally helping you. For many people, that point arrives somewhere around $20,000. Not because 20,000 makes you wealthy. It does not buy you financial freedom. It will not replace your salary. And it will definitely not let you retire. It creates a combination most people have never experienced before: protection, options, and momentum. Your first $10,000 gives you breathing room. Your first 20,000 begins to change the direction of your financial life. And the difference is much bigger than another $10,000 sitting in an account. For example, from protection to progress. Your first meaningful savings are usually defensive. Their job is to protect you. The car needs repair, your rent increases, you need to travel unexpectedly. Your income temporarily disappears. Before you have savings, each problem threatens the rest of your budget. You solve today's emergency by borrowing from tomorrow. But once you build a proper financial cushion, those situations lose much of their power. They can still be expensive, they can still be frustrating, they no longer automatically push you into debt. At $20,000, something new becomes possible. You may be able to protect part of the money as an emergency fund, while allowing another part to begin working toward your future. That second layer can be invested. It can finance a useful qualification. It can pay for a move that improves your career, or it can give you enough runway to test a serious business idea. The question slowly changes. You stop asking, how do I avoid falling backwards? And begin asking, how do I use this position to move forward? This change is not mathematical. It changes the type of problems your brain is able to solve. When you are living from one paycheck to the next, almost every financial decision is urgent. Can the bill wait? Which card still has available credit? What can be delayed until next month? Your attention is consumed by whatever is immediately in front of you. And when your entire mental bandwidth is focused on survival, it becomes difficult to think strategically. You may recognize a better opportunity, but still be unable to take it. You may know that your job is underpaying you, but feel too vulnerable to change it. You may have a valuable idea, but no room to risk even a small amount of money. A substantial savings balance creates distance between the problem and your reaction. Instead of deciding immediately, you can pause, calculate, compare, and choose. That pause is one of the most valuable things money can buy. At the beginning, nearly all financial progress comes from you. You save $200. Your balance grows by $200. You save $500. It grows by 500. The money itself contributes almost nothing, but as the base becomes larger, percentage returns begin producing numbers you can actually notice. A 10% gain in $1,000 is $100. Useful, but hardly very useful. A 10% gain on $20,000 is $2,000. The percentage is identical. The strategy may be identical, only the scale has changed. Of course, markets do not deliver the same return every year. Investments can fall, and money needed for near-term emergencies should not be replaced at unnecessary risk. But the border principle remains. Once you have capital, your progress no longer depends entirely on your next paycheck. Your money begins adding a small amount of force of its own. At first, you're still doing nearly all the work, but you're no longer working alone. This is where momentum becomes visible. Imagine that you begin with nothing and constantly save and invest each month. Building the first 20,000 may take years of discipline. You're creating the habit, building the balance, and learning how to resist spending it. But when you begin working toward the next 20,000, you're no longer starting from zero. You still make your monthly contributions. But now the original capital can grow alongside them. The effect may look small at first. Perhaps it only shortens the journey by a few months. But the same process repeats at 40,000, 60,000, 100,000, $1 million. Each milestone has more capital supporting the next one. The effort does not disappear, but the proportion of progress coming from your own labor slowly declines. This is compounding becoming real, not a dramatic overnight explosion, but a gradual transfer of responsibility from you to the assets you've built. There is another unexpected change. You begin to understand which financial decisions actually matter. When money is extremely tight, every small purchase feels important. Coffee, groceries, a subscription, extra few dollars at a restaurant. These expenses are not meaningless, but they are rarely the decisions that determine your long term financial future. Major differences usually come from the larger choices: where you live, what you drive, how much expensive debt you carry, how quickly your income grows, and what percentage of that income you constantly keep. Saving $3 on a lunch may help. Negotiating several $1,000s more in annual salary helps far more. Canceling one subscription may be sensible. Avoiding an unnecessary 5-year car loan can change your finances for years. Once you have a stable foundation, you can stop spending all your mental energy on tiny decisions and direct it toward the choices with the greatest impact. $20,000 also changes your relationship with employment. When you need the next paycheck to survive, your employer has enormous influence on you. You may tolerate work that is damaging your health, accept responsibilities without additional pay, avoid negotiating, or stay in a role long after you have stopped growing. Not because you believe the situation is good, but because leaving feels dangerous. Savings do not mean you should behave recklessly. They do not mean quitting after one difficult meeting. They can give you what could be called walking away power. You can search for another role without accepting the first offer. You can attend interviews without panicking about taking away from work. You can ask for a raise knowing that a refusal will not destroy you. You can reject conditions that make no sense. You negotiate differently when no is a survivable answer. Sometimes that confidence creates opportunities that would never appear while you were operating from desperation. Money does not magically attract more money. What money creates is access. A valuable conference appears in another city. Before, the travel cost ends the conversation. Now you can evaluate whether attending could improve your career. Qualification could raise your earning potential. Before, the price feels impossible. Now, you can compare the cost with likely return. A friend presents a business idea. Before, you can only wish them luck. Now, you can study the numbers and decide whether the opportunity deserves your attention. This does not mean investing impulsively. Having savings is not permission to fund every exciting idea. It simply means opportunities can now be judged on their quality instead of being rejected automatically because you have no capital. Options create the possibility of better outcomes, and $20,000 gives you more options than zero ever could. But the most valuable part of reaching $20,000 may have nothing to do with the money itself. Think about what was required to build it. You had to spend less than you earned repeatedly. You had to delay purchases, recover from unexpected expenses, continue after months when progress felt invisible. Avoid treating every increase in income as a permission to increase your lifestyle. $20,000 is physical evidence that you can control your behavior for long enough to achieve a meaningful financial goal. You're no longer someone who is trying to save, you are someone who has already done it. That identity matters because the next goal no longer feels theoretical. 40,000 feels difficult, but possible. Investing feels less intimidating. Long term wealth stops looking like something reserved for other people. You created the process, and once a process has worked once, it can be improved and repeated. But this is also where many people make a costly mistake. They finally feel comfortable and immediately reward themselves by destroying the comfort they created. The account reaches $20,000. Suddenly, a newer car seems affordable. A larger apartment feels deserved. A luxury holiday becomes a celebration. One purchase may not erase years of progress, but permanent monthly costs can. A more expensive vehicle brings insurance, maintenance, fuel, and years of payments. Expensive home raises the cost of every month that follows. Lifestyle inflation does not usually arrive as one dramatic decision. It arrives through several upgrades that each seem reasonable on their own. $20,000 can become the foundation of your first real portfolio or a temporary shopping budget. The account balance is the same, the direction is completely different. The easiest way to protect the milestone is to stop viewing it as one pile of available cash. Give each part a job. One portion may remain as an emergency fund, safe, accessible, and intentionally boring. Another portion may be invested for long term growth. Another may be reserved for opportunities, education, relocation, equipment, or a carefully researched project. The exact amounts depend on your expenses, goals, debts, and tolerance for risk. But assigning a purpose changes how you think about spending. You're no longer taking money from savings, you're taking it from your protection, your future, or a specific opportunity you plan for. That makes the real cost much easier to see. $20,000 will not make your life look dramatically different. You may drive the same car, work at the same job, wear the same clothes, and live in the same apartment. Most people around you may have no idea that anything has changed, but you'll notice it. You'll notice it when a bill arrives and you do not panic, when an opportunity appears and you're able to consider it, when a bad deal requires an immediate answer, and you realize you can walk away. You'll notice that your investments are beginning to produce visible results, and that your financial decisions are increasingly based on strategy rather than just survival. Your first $10,000 gave you breathing room. Your first 20,000 gives that breathing room direction. It's not wealth, it's not freedom, but it is proof that you have built protection, created momentum, and developed a system capable of taking you much further. $20,000 is not where the journey ends, it is where the journey finally begins to feel real. If you're building your first $20,000, subscribe. We are going to build wealth patiently, intelligently, and one milestone at a time.